Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to a brand new Total War Warhammer 2 guide. Today we are looking at the backbone of the Lizardmen army, and that is the Saurus. Now, just a sort of little brief history of the lore of the Sauruses. Basically, they were, when the old ones came to Earth and they became the Slan, which are the big, fat, bloaty, toad, magic-wielding dudes that can barely walk or anything. They realised, because they're such fatties, that they needed somebody to do the fighting for them. So they bred these Saurus in retaliation to the races that were already on the Warhammer world to become their backbone of their army. And that's why they're so tough as fucking nails. Now, they come in a mixture of flavours. Let's bring up the unit card. So you have the bog standard Saurus warriors. We have the Saurus warriors with shields, we have the spear dudes, and we have the spear dudes with shields, and then the almighty, which we'll talk about a bit more detail, the Temple Guard later on. So we're just going to have a look at the differences and attributes and skills between these sort of 5 units, work out which we think we're going to use in the fight more, which are sort of weakened units. Obviously, they're such an important part. You're definitely going to have Sauruses in your army. You can't rely on skinks to be the backbone of your army, because they'll just run away because they're scaredy little lizard things. So first off, we have the Saurus warriors. These are your default vanilla flavour, and they come in a unit. All of them come in a unit of 100, so compared to the skink cohorts, which are 160, but they've got 10,200 hit points, armour decent enough, 60, leadership 75, that's very nice, speed 31, not the quickest, the old lizards, melee attack of 28, defense of 28, weapon strength 52, which is good, and a charge of 16, which is, it's alright, isn't it? But Saurus by default come with a couple of special abilities, and that is predatory sense. So these hunt units are natural hunters that can sense prey hiding nearby. So any of these little sneaky bastards, you can spot them a lot earlier. And obviously this is just because they're smelling man flesh and all that sort of good. That's not even lizardmen, is it? That's orcs. So yeah, so that's really handy, and all Saurus warriors have that. They also have a Primal Instinct, which I will show you in more detail here. So this is one of the issues with the Lizardmen army. So we can read it here. It's a constant thing that happens. It only affects you if you're above 50% health. So when you start the battle, all the way until you drop 50%, you don't have to worry about it. But when it hits, it can hit hard. So it's called, the effect is called Rampage. And when under pressure, the primal instinct of these natural predators takes over. They may then go on a rampage against nearby enemy units, attacking the closest one and ignoring any orders given. And so this means the tactical flexibility of the sort of Saurus warriors is limited somewhat. If you're going to get them, they're fine early on, but if you get them deep in a fight where the numbers are dwindling, they've got a good chance to just go nuts. But at least they're not running away. They're attacking fools, right? They're still killing. They'll fight to the last man. They'll just go nuts. So it's got pluses and minuses. It's quite a fun. It's quite good for me because I don't like multitasking. So having units that just do their own thing, good or bad, it's quite fun for me. So let's talk about the sort of individual different units. So there we are, the lovely models as ever. I like in the war paint as well. Various different weapons. I like the Aztec style swords here. Very cool. But they're badass. Lovely. We've then got the normal Saurus warriors with shields. The only difference is, well, they've got a shield, isn't it? It's in the title. And shields obviously gives them protection against light infantry, guns, rifles, bows and stuff like that. Then we've got the Saurus spears. So they work pretty much identically. They have, what is it? So they have 4 less, we'll do it the other way around so you can see. So they have 4 less melee damage, 6 less defense, 10 less weapon strength, and -6 charge bonus over the normal Saurus warriors. But they do have a couple of benefits. One being they have a bonus versus large because they've got spears. So this is your main block of infantry for fighting, the big monsters and scary shit in this game. And they have, so they're anti-large, good at fighting large, but they also have a charge defense versus large creatures. So these two units are vary depending on what you're fighting, what you're up against. obviously, they're both going to be included in the army. They're both really versatile. The next one you've got is the spears, but with shields. You can probably guess where we're going with this. They've got shields. They stop shooty stuff, but they're the same otherwise. Finally, let's talk about the Temple Guard. Now, the Temple Guard are the upgraded. They're the most meanest, badass Saurus. They're specially bred to be the bodyguard of the Slan Mage Priests because they're big, fat, bloated toads, as we talked about before. So they are usually in defense of the temples and stuff. They're only sent out on special occasions, and that is still then to protect the Slan. But these are bad asses. If we compare them to... we'll compare them to the Saurus Warriors with shields, so they're the sort of nearest rival. So they have 300 more hit points, same amount of units, same amount of lizards in the unit. They have 25 more armor, because, you know, they've got bones and shit on their head. And they've got much better, 90 leadership, which is spectacular. Speed's the same. Their melee attack is a little bit more juicy, as is their defense. Their weapon strength is not quite so much, but we'll talk about that in a sec. And their charge bonus is 2 less. So, basically, mostly a slight upgrade all round on the other units. But what they do have is they have armor piercing. So the damage of armor piercing weapons mostly ignores the target's armor, making them... the tooltip disappear. Making them... oh my god, game! They often inflict less damage in total, though. So, yeah, so they do a little bit less damage, but they make up for it because these are the guys you send after the armoured targets. They also have the bonus versus large, just because they're motherfucking badasses. They're armoured and shielded. So armoured units can block damage from any source apart from armour-piercing damage. Shields have a chance of blocking arrows. So they are just an upgraded version. Let's talk about these guys as a whole. Other than the fact the models on the Temple Guards are brilliant. I love their little skull helmets things. Overall, I think it's worth... obviously, this depends very much on the army you're fighting, but if any of the army has... like, if you're facing high elves or stuff, then getting the shields is a no-brainer. I think both the spears and the normal weapons are very valuable because they serve a very different purpose in the game. You know, you've got your standard guys going up against your main form infantry going up against their form infantry. You want to bog them down, get the Primal Instincts going with a bit of what's it called? I've just totally forgotten. Rampage going on, and hitting them with other units. So they both, and then obviously you've got the spearmen going after the bigger stuff and the cavalry and the monsters and all that sort of stuff. So I can totally understand having both units, and unless I'm fighting an army with sort of no shooting whatsoever, I'm probably just going to have shields. Also, they look cooler with shields as well. And finally, the Temple Guard, although quite a bit more expensive, I probably include one unit. We haven't got a massive amount of armor piercing in the Lizardmen army, so having one unit that can take down those heavily armored guys is really, really nice. They will survive a little bit longer. Their armor is what was it, 25 better, and they have 300 more hit points, so an extra 3 hit points per guy, because I can do maths, people. I think they're definitely well worth taking as well. And just for fluff reasons, if you're going to take a Slan, you've got to take Temple Guard. They've got to look after the big fat bloated toad. Right, there we go, my friends. If you want to subscribe to the channel, that'd be fantastic. If you liked the video, do like it. I'm doing unit guides for all of the races in Total War Warhammer 2. I've already done, when the original game came out, I already did all the races for that. And so go check those out if you're interested, you know, just for the week's... speaking the words, just if you want to check out tactics and stuff. I've also done a friendly fire guide. Let me know what you think of the Saurus warriors in the game. Do you think they're overpowered? Do you think they're underpowered? Do you think there's anything particularly worth getting out of these 4 or 5 units that you just think is a must, or ones that you think are just not worth taking? Are you a shield man? I'd like to know that. I kind of just like taking shields regardless. You know, fighting Skaven or something, you know, something that undead that doesn't have any shooties. Just shields look better, people. Just shields are cool. Right, there we go. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.